And joining us now, Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey of Maryland, who serves on that congressional task force. Congressman, good to have you here. What does yesterday's incident now mean for your probe into what happened in Butler?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I know we're setting up a briefing with the Secret Service to find out what happened and also to see if there are any connections or links. I think there will be, from the standpoint of making sure protection that's being provided currently is as good as it needs to be and has to be, I think, to keep everybody safe during this time frame. But, you know, we don't take over that investigation unless and until the House votes to allow us to do that. We got the scope of our investigation was set by the vote of 416 to 0 with respect to the initial attempted assassination, but that hasn't happened on this one that took place yesterday yet.
And so, Congressman, the top Republican and Democrat on your task force have both asked for a briefing with the Secret Service. What questions do you want addressed?
Well, I think we want the overall explanation of what happened and where things stand. But I mean, you know, from my perspective, I certainly have questions about the perimeter of the golf course. And I know golf courses are very large and it's hard to provide protection around the scope of it. But I would like to know more about what the approach was with the Secret Service on that front. Another open question that I had was sort of the timing of all of this. Apparently, the former president had not announced that he was going to be golfing during that time yesterday. You know, how did this guy know, or did he know? Maybe he just happened to be sort of following the motorcade, or, you know, I'm not exactly sure where he got the information from, but I'd like to know about that as well.
And this morning, President Biden said Congress should do more to ensure the Secret Service has the support it needs. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's pretty clear that the Secret Service needs an additional supplemental to help fund what they're trying to do now. It's going to be hard to get new agents to come in and trained in this. What do we have? 50-something days left. That's not a possibility. But there are additional resources that they have that they can bring to bear. I think some of that's classified. We want to make sure that there are no financial barriers to that. And also, when they bring in assistance from state and local law enforcement, when they're providing, you know, to expand the range of protection that they're providing, I think it's helpful to be able to reimburse those agencies where appropriate. And then there are other things like overtime and the like that we should take care of. But the bottom line, I think, is we've got to be absolutely sure that there's no barrier set by resources to providing the protection that the candidates need, and also at these rallies and events that the spectators need to receive as well.
Congressman, we're about 50 days from the election. Are you confident that the Secret Service can protect both candidates safely? And Congressman, real quick, what your question was about, you know, how that person was able to be there when it was an unannounced thing. This thing is huge, and we're right in front of the entrance. You can see these two big black gates there, the entrance and the exit. But the entire perimeter of this is surrounded by huge bushes and trees. Are you expecting, and would you like to come down here with your committee to do what you did in Butler just a few weeks ago?
Yeah, that may make sense. I think we'll have to see if we get assigned to take this on. But you know, another aspect of your point is that, you know, selection of where the candidates are going, I think, is important for us to take into account as well. When I had a chance to visit Butler, my first thought was, this is not a good site to have a rally from a protection standpoint, because you had so many rooftops and buildings surrounding it that it created, I think, a lot of places where this sort of problem or risk could be accentuated. That sounds like the issue with the golf course there too. And you know, maybe instead of going to public golf courses like the one that he was at yesterday, maybe they go to golf courses on military bases, or, you know, I hate to say it this way, you know, the candidates deserve R&R as well, but maybe they just don't get to play golf for a little while we make sure that the protection that can be provided is up to snuff. I mean, keep in mind that next week, you know, we've got the delegations of international leaders come to the United States as well. And the Secret Service is going to be expected to provide that level of protection as well, too. So There's a finite number of resources there at the Secret Service is being stretched in many different directions at once. I think it's important for us in Congress and the administration to make sure that we're providing all of the resources that they need as fast as possible so they can get these tasks done and live up to the demands of their mission.